Star Wars, an American institution, a once proud franchise ran by George Lucas that shaped the childhoods of billions of people. Then it was bought by Disney and promptly ran into the ground. Normally, I like to open these very diplomatically, very non biasedly, but there's no other way of saying it. Star Wars is but an empty husk of its former glory. The sequel franchise was embarrassingly without an active vision led by a creator. It was a hodgepodge of nonsense from different people. We are now in a world where Star Wars is predominantly ran by Dave Filoni, more like Dave Fugazi, and Kathleen Kennedy. And like, God, of all the Kennedys you've taken from us, you left us with Kathleen Kennedy? Give me John back! John! It needs to be said that I'm very excited to talk about Ahsoka, because this is the latest in the Disney Plus shows that started off promising with The Mandalorian, but then Season 3 happened, and then Boba Fett happened, and now depression has set in. Is it possible for Star Wars to reclaim its former glory in the reimagining of Ahsoka as a live-action character, or are we destined for more nonsense? This is Last Page. Issue 21 of Last Page. I am RemingtonCKing, your host. Jason Cedars on the other side of the internet. Rembo on the other side of the internet. And we have gathered once again to talk about Ahsoka. The first two episodes have premiered on Disney Plus, and I am quite thrilled to talk about said Ahsoka. We initially were going to talk about some old movie that was almost 100 years old, but instead, Jason wanted to talk about Ahsoka, so we're talking about Ahsoka. Jason, you've seen it. Talk to me about the first two episodes, this character that he reimagined for live-action audiences. Part of this whole show is the fact that most of these characters were cartoon characters in the Clone Wars show, and they have brought them to real life. So if you haven't, and I haven't seen any of those cartoon shows, the basic premise, according to IMDb, of Ahsoka is after the fall of the after the fall of the Galactic Empire, former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano investigates an emerging threat to a vulnerable galaxy, which is basically they're looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn.
I started hearing whispers of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
Power.
Jason, how'd you feel about the premiere of Ahsoka?
It's cool that you almost quoted what's the classic, what do they call it? The
opening
scrolling words, the word scroll of Star Wars. How, it starts at the bottom and moves up in the yellow lettering and how it goes bigger to smaller. That they did a version of that starting this off where it's red letters, but it didn't fade away at the back. It kind of just went straight up. I was like, and have the evil Galactic Empire are all in bold, and so I got like little tingles, from that. I am a hardcore Star Wars fan. I mean, that's the franchise, like said in the intro, that built a lot of my childhood. So this is getting back to my roots as far as some of my favorite properties. And it wasn't perfect. I'll definitely give you guys that. It wasn't everything that I'm sure we all went into it expecting, but it was fine. It was definitely better than Obi-Wan. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot, and it's better than the third season of Mandalorian because, they got really far away from what was so good about Boba Fett, and I don't know, or I'm sorry, about Mandalorian. And I don't know if this show is going to do it where it's the episodic, the kind of one story in each episode. I don't think it's going to be that way. It's going to be this more overarching plot like it was in Obi-Wan. So I'm a little disappointed about that. I thought it'd be a little bit more like the Mandalorian, but also coming away from this surprise that I actually do want to go back and watch the shows. I want to go back and watch Clone Wars and Rebels. And I've never said that to myself. It's always was these properties that were a little too big, a little too kiddie, a little too much like, oh man, I have to really, slug through like 3 seasons, I think, of each. I think there's at least 3 seasons of Clone Wars and maybe 2 or 3 of Rebels. But I'm coming away with it feeling like I was out of the loop with this show by not watching that show, and I guess that's good and bad. It's what we've always talked about with kind of the Marvel movies and the Spider-Man stuff, where it's like, it's cool. Like, I imagine the fans of both of those cartoons were like the entire time during this premiere, like, ooh, I know that character. And ooh, I remember that cat, creature from the show. And ooh, I remember that reference, because this was probably laden with references characters from the cartoons, which we missed a lot of that. So it's a shame that I didn't have quite that knowledge going into it, but I still enjoyed it. We'll get into more details of it, but I think the overarching for this premiere was just, it felt like Star Wars. I've been watching a lot of other different properties, and now getting back into it, seeing the music, seeing the ships fly through space, the references, some of the dueling, the action, the lightsabers, the characters. It's like, yes, this is Star Wars again, and that got me jazzed. And yeah, it's not perfect, and I hate going into these not knowing your guys' opinions sometimes. I know you're just going to pick apart and destroy this shit. So everything I said right now, you're like, nope, it was bad for this and bad for that. But I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I wasn't totally engaged the entire time, but I had a good time during this premiere.
Rembo.
It feels just like out the gate. It feels just the exact same vibe as Mandalorian season 3, as far as nothing that interesting happens. I understand this is the building block episodes, but coming off the heels of the Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and I did not grace Obi-Wan with a watch. I knew that was going to be bad. And then everybody seemingly agreed with that. So I never even gave that. But just coming into this with low expectations and watching it and not being like, oh my God, I hated it. It's not that I hated anything that happened in the episode, but there are just through each episodes, I was just like, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. That's stupid. That doesn't make sense. And I just have a laundry list of items from both episodes written down of just like, that was dumb. That doesn't make sense. And it's just, this is where we're at, where the writing is again, and I've said this so many times, but it hasn't changed. This writing is for the minimum age possible. Like, again, could you throw a 5-year-old in front of this show and would they understand everything that's going on? Yes. And that's not a good thing. Like, there's no complexity there. It's simple. And there's some cool, there are some cool visuals. Like I like, you know what? I will say I didn't get any from the Mandalorian season 3 where they have like the worst looking alien set or costumes and makeup. At least to this, it looked like it still fit in a general high quality Star Wars product. So I'm not sure why this one fit and that one didn't, but it didn't, there wasn't any one thing that looked terrible. I don't like the cat. I like a normal, like you took a domestic cat, which is like a cute, fluffy, beautiful creature, and you made it ugly and horrible. It's like a cat pug. It was very, I haven't even watched any of the cartoon fan fiction shows, but yeah. So I basically came away from this. My initial impression was, without getting into the details, is just, this looks like more mid to low tier Star Wars content that's unimaginative and hopefully will be saved by a big, bad, scary bad. But even, in the way that Giancarlo was a great villain for initially a good villain for Mandalorian, I hope that Thrawn is the same for this Disney Plus world. But I can't say the first 2 episodes gave me a whole lot of confidence in that.
I will say these first 2 episodes I would consider not cringy the way I just cringed all the way through Mandalorian season 3, through Boba Fett, through Obi-Wan. Just absolute embarrassments. These 2 episodes are not that, like you said, Rem, it is unimaginative and it's executed horrifically. The costumes, the CGI, and usually the CGI budget, they throw everything, the kitchen sink at you in the premiere episodes to get you hooked, and then it gets cheaper as it goes. Or there's one episode throughout that eventually picks up the budget. The pacing, the editing is so weird. It's a PlayStation 2 CGI cutscene. And I'm going to do an imitation. You tell me who I am.
She does have her hands crossed for like 90.
90% of this show is Rosario Dawson just having her arms crossed and delivering one line of dialogue followed by someone repeating one line of dialogue. I think you shouldn't go there. Well, I believe it's a good idea. I do go there. Well, I am going to disagree with you. It's just that back and forth. It's Dave Fugazi. I'm just going to just drink the haterade. This guy cannot write. It's so basic, bitch. It's embarrassing. And I did look, he is the only accredited writer. They didn't even use free Disney interns to help spruce it up a little bit. It's just him. So they got to get someone in there. I mean, it makes sense. A master and apprentice, him and George Lucas, they can't write character dialogue. Like apparently he looked at George Lucas and was like, the holy text of the prequels. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's written. So yeah, it's just not a good show. It's not terrible. I think I just called it terrible, but it's not cringy. Yeah, let's. It's the first 2 episodes. There's nothing like spoilery that's crazy. So if you've watched it, great. If not, the show opens with a scene where we get Mark Rolston, who I love, who is the commander of a ship, and then the ship gets boarded by 2 Jedis, quote unquote, turns into the only good part of this show, which is Ray fucking Stevenson. Rest in peace.
I know. I just saw that at the very end credits, the rip, and I was like, and it just happened like May. It's very, very recent that he passed, and I didn't realize that. I mean, I remember him from Starship Troopers as a kid, and then of course, Shawshank. I think he's the. No. I'm sorry.
You're mixing the 2 old white guys together.
Clancy Brown. No, Ray Stevenson. Oh, Thor. He was the sidekick.
He's Surtur.
Thor. Yeah.
Surtur.
He's Volstagg.
Sorry. Yes, my bad. They're both in Thor. My bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. He's in it too. But yeah, just recently Ray Stevenson, Thor's sidekick in it. But I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yes, Ray Stevenson sadly passed away on the set of a movie in Italy. Really sad. Oh, everyone said he was an amazing person, a really nice guy, and very sad. But he has always been great. The show Rome, Game of Thrones, before Game of Thrones was a thing, he was fantastic in that. He was a great Punisher in a bad Punisher movie, Punisher Warzone.
That was him. Oh my God.
And he is clearly, it's just like, all right, I can already tell he's the guy that they're not going to give enough screen time to. And they're going to give it to all these other stupid tertiary characters. And it's like, you should just be giving Ray Stevenson things to do in this show, because he's clearly the coolest, baddest, big hulking man guy.
So imposing. Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if he's actually wearing shoulder pads. I assume he is, but it doesn't matter because it's, his figure of just being tall. And it helps that he's in a world that only exists with female characters because it makes him look even bigger. Like, he looks huge against everybody because they're all 5'5" and under. So it just works so perfectly.
Commented on that all the females, not only there's a lot of females, but they're all very small females, Mm-hmm. But I think that's a very the powerful small female Jedi kind of angle that they're kind of going with this, where that they can still be powerful even though they're small. Oh God! As soon as I said it, I'm like, haters.
Ram, what's this show called?
Chicks in Space. Dude, it's so funny. It's so funny, dude. It's just it's the overcorrection of overcorrections. We didn't have enough female representation in the past, so we're going to massively overload female representation to a point where there's 7 important characters in this show and 6 of them are women. I mean, it's hilarious that you could just you can have it balanced, but it's just the female apprentice, the other female apprentice, Ahsoka, the female general, the female witch, and then Ray Stevenson. I mean, at that point, it's funny. I don't have a problem with you guys giving role jobs to women, but just space it out so it looks a little bit like it's a diverse galaxy universe. It should maybe a little bit different than like it wouldn't make sense if it was all guys, and it wouldn't make sense if it's all girls. I feel like there's a middle ground there.
Well, yeah, Clancy Brown and Ray Stevenson. I think the two most prominent guys, in it so far. But I wanted to comment though on something you guys said earlier, and I think it's something we always try to like we forget about with some of these shows. It's like we are not the target demographic. I mean, and it's also Star Wars is trying to be a very broad demographic. It's trying to have the 5-year-old that can sit in front of the show, and then the 40-year-old that grew up with this still enjoying it too. So I imagine it's so hard to do, and they don't pull it off very well a lot of the time because they are doing Andor, where it's something kind of made more for a mature audience, or something like Book of Boba Fett, where I feel like that was trying to target, a younger audience. So is this one trying to play in the middle? And then also, this is something based off of and this is based off a cartoon show that was definitely geared towards younger kids. Like you can see like that painting on the wall when this is like I guess reminiscing of all the characters that were from the Clone Wars and Rebels. You saw that, where it's very done in the animation style of the Clone Wars. I thought that was kind of funny. But that's what this is all based off. Is a cartoon that was geared towards probably 12-year-olds. So it's like, how can we make this a little more adult? And so it's already going to be an uphill battle to kind of win us over as far as that. But I think it pulled it off well with what it was given. What it started off with.
I feel like if you asked Dave Filoni, write this for adults, it would write the exact same way. I don't think there would be any difference. It just doesn't seem like he has the capacity if it would matter. And again, you don't have to write a show for Cocomelon audience. You can write it for, just like the original Star Wars movies, it can be, this basic tale of good versus evil, but you can still have interesting characters, and that's where this show does fall apart, is that, if you've seen the cartoon show and now you already know their backstories and everything, but nobody, and I love Rosario Dawson. I think she's incredible. She seems bored out of her mind doing this, and all the other tertiary characters that are from the Clone Wars show just seem really uninteresting. Sabine, I saw an article's headline that said like Sabine is the centerpiece of this show. She brings it. And I was like, what are you watching? Like purple, orange hair lady. Like they have a scene where she rides, I believe it's her character, that rides a
speeder bike
out of the city. And Clancy Brown, who is ferociously underutilized in this show, they give him 2 lines of dialogue to be like, oh, go send the cops, go bring her back to my speech. And she rides out like Star Trek, like in Star Trek, how
yes, I know. I literally wrote that down to rip off Star Trek scene, like 100% ripped it off. Since when is there fucking rock music in Star Wars? What are we doing? What? No, like if you had a band playing, because there's bands in Star Wars that like, okay, you hear a band that's making, but like as you just add in this scene that's literally ripped straight out of James T. Kirk running away from the cops. What are we doing?
It's not the only.
Star Wars Visions had a little rock concert for Jabba, right? So did you guys watch Star Wars Visions?
Oh, you mean the Star Wars anime?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. No, I did not.
They introduced rock music in that one. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, there was Star Wars rock, or I forget what the title of the song is, in the special editions of Return of the Jedi. They redo the Jabba music, and it's called Star Wars rock or something. So I believe that is what it is. Covering, but there's multiple Star Trek rip-offs where I'm just like, again, Dave Filoni's in charge of this. Why does everything feel like Star Trek? You have the bridge commander. You don't say that in Star Wars. Star Wars is all about like character dialogue. It's not about like actual official. What they say on
military. It's not military style dialogue.
Yes, and on the comms they keep saying over. It's like, I see it right here, over. They don't say over in Star Wars.
Well, remember No, the rebels have now fallen into the governing
republic.
Yeah, so now they were rebels that were running around trying to like living out of warehouses and jumping in ships to shoot down stormtroopers. But now they're the government. Now they're running, so maybe they're having to act a little more professional and like add this dialogue to stuff and be a little bit more
Perhaps I could buy that if it didn't feel so Star Trekky. And again, with the scene with the speeder bike scene that's literally out of the 2009 Star Trek, it's just like, are you just you're going to Star Trek to bring it to Star Wars to try to make it feel, I don't know. Anyway, Jason, how did you feel? Or wait, who has talked last? Rem, Rosario Dawson. I think you like her just like I like her. How do you feel about her, Ahsoka, in this show?
I do like her. I think most people do. I don't think anybody's a Rosario hater. That'd be weird. I think we've seen her. I love her. I mean, I just coming off the heels of watching the first season of Daredevil. She's great in Daredevil. She's an awesome co-character, or not co-main, but an awesome character in that. Has good depth, good range. In this, no range. Just she has the same Qui-Gon Jinn problem of flat and dull from basically the whole time, because I just think actors, if they're not given good direction, a lot of actors just play Jedi super flat. I mean, Mace Windu is the best example, because you have a super charismatic actor in Samuel L. Jackson who is just castrated into being boring as hell. And so it's more of the same for Rosario. I feel like she's a great actress with great range, and she's just muted in this. And maybe that's how Ahsoka is in the cartoons. I don't know. If maybe she's really kind of dull and boring in that too, and that's like, so she's just playing her straight. So it might not be Rosario's fault, but yeah, it just feels like you have a great actress, and she's not, but a great actress that could have been replaced by anybody. Is kind of how I feel about her. Just a couple quick thoughts before we just get through them, though. Worst text scroll ever. Why did it not fade away into the back instead of just going straight up? What is that? That's ugly. I love that they use the same fucking trope from Star Wars Episode 6, when it's just like, oh, they're using old clearance codes. I literally called it as it happens. I was like, wow, they're gonna dock, and they're gonna use old clearance codes. And then I was waiting. Yep, old clearance codes right on the note. They have 2 Jedi coming on. They bring 6 people. They're like, oh, this will be fine. 6 people. When they pull the Millennium Falcon onto the Death Star for the first time, they have a whole army waiting for 5 or 6 smugglers. Like the ill preparedness of these people before they got slaughtered, which was a good scene just for what it was. But I had to point that out. Anyway, go ahead.
Me on Rosario,
Yeah.
or yeah. I know, I thought she was awesome. Like, I fell in love with her. I think Clerks 2 was one of the first movies that I really, really enjoyed her in.
Great call.
Yeah, and then it was Daredevil. Like, really enjoying her in that one too. And Remy, you nailed it. I think it is this like combination of she's having to play this character from the Clone Wars, where I think she was very like just not very charismatic, just very kind of one-linery kind of character. And then you're so right on this Jedis, where they act like they're monks, where they're these very just solemn, very statuesque shorts, dialogues kind of things. And it's got to be hard for an actor, because I think that they even play that, where we're going to have one Jedi who's very like solemn monk-like, and then we'll have someone who has a little bit more energy, which I think Sabine is kind of going to be that, 2 sides of the same coin of these characters in here. But no, that's exactly it. It's Rosario has to be this Qui-Gon, this very smart, very, like, I could see her even dying at the end of this, and passing on to Sabine, kind of like that, this whole thing where she's going to be this, teacher throughout this, and I think Sabine will be more the focus, which the actress isn't as intriguing, and hopefully she, with the hair getting cut off at the end, maybe she'll be more
She got the Karen cut, dude. She's going to start yelling at managers.
Because everyone now on the internet can't make fun of her hair. I was like, that's going to be the entire thing throughout the show. But I feel like the fact that it's a Mandalorian who has some force power that's getting trained by a Jedi, I think that that's a very cool thought process, and I think that was touched on so much more in Rebels, and we're just now getting kind of like the part of this that she is going to be a Mandalorian with a lightsaber, and I know we kind of like that's lost its coolness after Mandalorian now, where it's got introduced with the Darksaber and so much of those kind of worlds colliding, but that never collided at all. No Jedis were ever Mandalorians. And then the whole magic aspect of this too, I think, is something that it's going to be a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. I think that there is magic in the Star Wars universe, but I think it's going to be a cool addition with the Witch, and now how Rosario is going to be battling that and everything. But yeah, I can definitely see the hate on a lot of these characters, but I think we should give them a little bit more of a chance. I mean, they have some time to redeem themselves, I think.
Nope. Tried, executed, judged afterwards. You said smart. Ahsoka is dumb as rocks. You're telling me, and when I say Ahsoka's dumb as rocks, I mean her character's written to be dumb as rocks. She gives the star map.
Oh yeah.
Rebellious, runs like completely anti-establishment, no rules. In fact, that's why they're not Master Apprentice anymore. Sabine, and she's like, can I take this off planet? No, you cannot. You cannot take that off planet. You cannot, Sam I am. And she's like, okay. And then Ahsoka walks out of the room like, what? And then Ahsoka has the audacity to be surprised when she's like, she's talking to a hologram lady, and she's like, can you believe Sabine took the map when I explicitly said not to? Come on, man. How fucking dumb are we?
And then she doesn't even chase her. She's just like, I guess she'll just come back, knowing damn well they have the anal probes out to find her. They have the anal probes out finding, like, they know the Sith are coming for them, and she's just like, she'll come back, I guess. Like, what the fuck?
Plot developments. There's no way that they could have taken the star map from Ahsoka, so they had to get it off the ship. They had to get it away from her somehow so that the bad guys could get it so they could chase after it. So, I mean, it's just putting that map in a position where it had a good storytelling device. You guys got to see through the shit. You guys got to understand.
No, this is bad, Jason. You can't explain away that it's just bad. It makes Ahsoka stupid, and that's not what your intention is. Your intention is not.
But how else was the Empire going to get this map from her unless they were going to fight her right then? And they wanted to draw out that fight till later.
Overwhelming forces where like she has to do her best against 20 robots, and then while that's happening,
and that'll happen at some point. But just
it could have happened right then, Jason. Stop explaining this away.
Have them overwhelm her, and she has to choose whether to save Sabine or to take the star map, and she ends up choosing Sabine. Boom!
This would have been a terrible choice because Sabine's worthless.
Yeah, honestly, yes. But it would have actually done so much better because then you would have had more emphasis of their relationship being rebuilt because it was ruined. Because, oh man, there's some shit in this. Before we get to the second episode, I got to talk about their relationship and all the fucking exposition about why they can't be together anymore.
Yeah, I mean, so much of that's lost on us. I think, like, we don't really know the history of those two characters. And I think and also what that scene was supposed to be doing was to make Sabine want to be, I can't remember the exact line where it was. It was like, you need this, or you want to have to do this, and I can't tell you to do it, or something, where it was that reckoning moment for Sabine of getting stabbed and failing her master once again to come back around and be like, okay, I am really going to put all my effort into this time.
Wow, Remy, she's going to get stabbed through the heart. That's going to be real bad, isn't it?
Nope, not at all. It's going to be barely an inconvenience. I literally have that written down. I have it written down.
Mimi said the same thing. My wife was like, oh, she said, I'm like, no, it missed all vital organs, and it's a lightsaber. It's cauterized.
Except for that one really important character that got stabbed through the stomach and died immediately.
When?
Qui-Gon Jinn! Qui-Gon Jinn got stabbed through the stomach and died. She gets stabbed in the stomach and is fine.
It's all about I believe she's the 6th Star Wars character to get stabbed and not die, whereas Qui-Gon just dead.
Yeah,
I mean, just lost the will to live. That's what happened.
That's the thing. I was gonna say that, like, the whole lost the will to live. Like, how badly did Padme want to die? That in Star Wars you can get stabbed with a lightsaber, be fine, and she literally just was like, and dead.
She died of a broken heart.
Worst death in all of Star Wars or all of movies. Just die from a heart. Yeah.
Man, fucking dude. She just takes this fucking stab right through the stomach. 100% fine. Fucking Qui-Gon can't. Whatever. Like. Oh, also,
The only way that I justified that is how quickly she probably got healed. She probably wasn't on that tarmac for more than like fucking 10.
Qui-Gon's there for like 2 minutes and is dead.
And they're on an Imperial ship, right? It's not like
No, they're on deserty, like there's the tower in the middle of the desert.
No, you're talking about the fight scene between him and Darth Maul, right?
Wait, no,
Yeah,
I'm talking about
Darth Maul. They're in Naboo, or they're in Naboo.
No, they're on
great medical facilities in Naboo. Probably. They're in the middle of the desert in this show.
He's literally like dead. He dies in his arms. Like he couldn't have possibly transported him. But in this chick, she's completely through the stomach by herself. Has to get picked up and then brought. Like she should have been dead.
Well,
like,
also,
why couldn't
she should have just like the lady, the apprentice lady of Ray Stevenson should have chopped her head off. Like again, it's another bad, and this goes back to the prequels and good versus evil shows or movies in general. It's like why doesn't she just finish her off? And no,
this is also a Disney show. Remember, they're not going to be head women on screen.
Equal rights. I'm for equity and equality in this show, and we need women to get their heads lopped off so we have equal rights in shows. If you're going to have 1,900 women to every 5 dudes in Star Wars from now on, at least have like, oh my God, a woman got her head chopped off. This is edgy.
The Game of Thrones will not fall into the Star Wars world. I think you guys are expecting a little too much out of Star Wars.
Jango Fett got his head cut off.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Jango got his head cut off. Why can't Sabine?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, going back to the whole like this show, like the witch lady, just not interesting at all. You have big ass Ray Stevenson, and then you introduce witch lady, and I'm like, I'm supposed to take old ass like witch lady seriously when Ray Stevenson looks like he could kill everyone on screen. You should be building Ray Stevenson up.
She hired him, right? She's like they're just mercenaries for her, is what I thought. She paid.
I think so. I think that's right.
She has to do her best to look evil at all times because she's like her head's like tilted and she's like eyebrows. She's like trying to look all intimidating, and it's like again, this is just poorly cast. You need to have some people that look like they can handle themselves. And Ray Stevenson's the only one on screen that actually looks like he can handle himself. Anyway, Remy.
One more cast member that it took me so long to identify who she was. And it was Mary Elizabeth Winstead, the green chick. And it was Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim. So the
never
green
saw
chick.
Scott Pilgrim. Monica's mad at me that I never watched that because I hate Michael
dude,
Cera.
that's got to be the next movie that we review. That'll be fun.
I hate Michael Cera. Why watch it, dude?
She's also from 10 Cloverfield Lane. Have you ever watched that with John Goodman? Like she's the chick in that one.
That's
I
the
may have
Cloverfield
watched
sequel.
That one.
I think it's a prequel, but it doesn't have anything real. I mean, it's the very end of the movie has to do with invasion, but it's like the whole movie is them stuck in this bunker, and it's like it's a great movie, 10 Cloverfield, like because John Goodman plays such a good bad guy, and you don't really see John Goodman as a bad guy and stuff. But anyways, yeah, this Elizabeth Winstead or Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It took me so long to figure it out, but she's like the chick that he's going after in Scott Pilgrim. So. Yeah, that took me a while to figure out who she was, and like I know her from something.
Yes, she plays a general, but she's like doesn't look like a general. Like she doesn't have commanding presence the way that Princess Leia had like amazing commanding presence. Yeah. And in this, she's just like absent, except for the she gets holographed into conversations. But again, I'm just looking at her, and to be fair, not to get too political. But I was like, she doesn't look like a general, but we have in the United States government right now, there is Admiral Rachel Levine, and I'll put a picture up here of Admiral Rachel Levine. And to be fair, Admiral Rachel Levine does not look like an admiral either. So, hey, maybe her not looking like a general is accurate to the military. All right, so episode 2, I don't like, they kind of blend together. I don't really have like, that first episode versus second episode. First episode ends with Sabine getting stabbed, and that's how the first episode ends. Second episode, she's in the medical bay and recovering, and everything's fine. And then Ahsoka's like, "You are going to be left behind." And then she goes off to follow the star map, which is supposed to lead to Grand Admiral Thrawn, which we get cock teased into thinking he was going to be in one of these episodes. He is not in either of these episodes. The show's 8 episodes long, and he's supposed to be the big bad. You're waiting for this dude to show up, and he's not in the first 2 episodes. Kind of sucks. Should have gotten more Ray Stevenson. Jason, how did you feel about second episode?
I mean, I like the direction it's heading in. It was building up that relationship between the three of the girls, you know, and kind of getting back to their roots from the show. I mean, this is all it's just hard. It's like that's what I wrote down here. Is just like I kept feeling out of the loop, and is it my own fault or is it the show not really explaining enough of these like characters' backstories? So it's. Yeah, I'm upset with that factor because I understand that I should have done some more research and watched these shows, but at the same time too, you need to gear it a little bit more towards a person who hasn't seen this stuff, you know, and it's a fine line to do this sort of thing. So, but yeah, it did a good job of now placing where these characters are going to kind of be going forward for the next 6 episodes of, the apprentice master kind of thing with both, you know, the Jedis and the Siths kind of thing, which I'm not too upset with. I kind of like that. And then, I'm trying to think of all kind of what happened in the second one. More of it was science searching for the star map, which, okay, I don't want to pick apart stuff. I wanted to be very positive, but it's like, okay, I'm Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm going to go hide in another galaxy, but I'm going to leave a map to where I'm going. You know, it's like, for who? Like, who did I leave behind that's going to need to find me at some point in the future? Only the people that are trying to kill me, or, you know, the good guys trying to fight the bad guys. There's no bad guys that I left behind that I need to show this map to. And at some point she says like this area has been here for centuries and like 500 years or something like that. So it's like, so this map shit has been sitting here for 500 years and he's now using a map that was already there to go to a different galaxy. So they didn't really explain that well enough. So, and I know the whole thing is this trying to find this map to go to this other galaxy sort of thing, which I didn't think that they'd ever go to other galaxies. This is one galaxy far, far away, but now we've got another galaxy that's even farther away, which I'm kind of happy with that because we went into the show as far as like the internet and like talkings that this was going to be like alternate timelines or time travel. That was going to be in this show.
Yes.
You know, and I'm kind of happy that we didn't go that route already, that it's actually just like this other galaxy thing. But I think that they're kind of hinting at that, but they didn't hit us too hard with all that stuff right now. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, she makes a comment. She says Thrawn's communicating to me through time and space. She specifically says time and space. So my head immediately went, oh God, are they going to start fucking time traveling? Because the entire fabric of Star Wars plot reality will just fall apart in the course of 3 episodes
and
of this show.
Is it all just a ploy to get Hayden Christensen back on screen? You know, because
God, Jason, no.
He's credited in the show. He's going to be in the show somehow. And his voice was already used in like one of the previews. So is this whole angle to try to get young Hayden back with
God. Oh, that is a horrifying nightmare. You know what? Just for that, I hope they do. I hope they do it. Just so we can just have more horrible things to say about them, and it'll just piss off every fan anybody that's ever been a fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh God, that'd be so stupid.
Yeah. I think they're just looking for different angles in the Star Wars universe now, and they're like, ooh, you know what's really hot right now? Multiverse.
Oh man, it would be so bad.
Oh man,
so bad. And then we're gonna get CGI Luke Skywalker with CGI, or actually real Anakin Skywalker, and just, you know, God, it would be so stupid. Like, just imagine a scene where it's Luke Skywalker unknowingly talking to like Anakin, and just like Iron Man talking to his dad in Endgame, where it's just like, you know, I have a son on the way. I have a son on the way. I'd do anything for that son. And Luke Skywalker has to pretend he doesn't know it's him. It's just like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, maybe take it easy on your son.
Remy, you said you had a lot of critiques about all of these plot holes and whatnot. What's on your list of transgressions?
There's like, okay, so I feel like a lot of this episode was the dialogue about trying to patch up things. I don't know. Okay, why is a general interested in the relationship between a master and apprentice? Since fucking when is Jedi business their business?
Well, they were all friends growing up. Like they're
friends.
All three
the general one. Okay.
Yeah.
See, things that should really be explained. to the people who didn't watch the cartoons.
And for those, real quick, for those people that are like, oh my God, you guys didn't watch the show. Yeah, you know why? Because that animation sucks. I can't stand a show that's about serious properties like Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man is a fine show. Like the content of it's fine, but the animation's so goofy that it ruins the experience. Just like when I saw Rebels or Clone Wars, like that animation's so goofy looking that I'm like, I can't watch it and think that this is somehow canon on any level. Anyway, go ahead, Ram.
Right. So, okay, well, so yeah, the patching up of the friendship or the master apprenticeship. You know what's the hilarious line of dialogue, which was so stupid, was, "You're both difficult. I thought that would make it work." Oh, yeah, you know how, yeah, you take two difficult people and put them together. Wow, I can't believe that didn't work. Like, no, you need somebody who's patient and somebody who's difficult. Having two difficult people is just a recipe for disaster. So it's so asinine to think like, oh, I wonder, like, oh my God, I can't believe this didn't work. You're both stubborn and like, you're not going to get along. Like, stupid. Oh, they had a great don't think about it, feel it. So dumb. Was they're talking about, again, just more relationship fucking diatribe, was she's saying, like, oh, she goes, she's not ready. She says, Ahsoka says that Sabine isn't ready to be an apprentice or to be a Jedi or whatever. And she goes, how do you know if somebody's ready? She goes, you just know. Or she goes, what's the line?
It was so great. You're like expecting some like sage wisdom.
Yeah.
And you just know.
You just know. I was like, yeah, don't think about it, feel it. Like, could have been like, you gotta be, she needs patience. She needs to understand that she's not right all the time. Anything. But no, it's just literally just like, you know. I know, obviously. Okay. All right. I guess you know.
That was the last line of the second episode. She was like, I'm ready.
Dude. It just, yeah, it sucks that Ray Stevenson isn't in this more.
Another stupid line of dialogue. The still has feelings for the Empire guy, the balding dude that I just know him as the plastic surgeon from House.
Long live the Empire! And then they start firing.
Right, and then they're like, he's in handcuffs, like looking like mad or whatever as he's going up the ramp, and Ahsoka's there, and they're like, why do they still have feelings for the Empire? Like, what? Why? And she says, it's just greed.
You think that all the people that work for the Empire are getting paid like fair wages? What are we talking about?
Yeah, that's the thing. They just tried to summarize everyone that still has feelings for the Empire as just being greedy. And I'm just like, again, shallow. Like, look at yourselves. Like, what are you guys doing? Maybe you guys like aren't compensating workers fairly. Do you guys crush unions? Maybe you guys hate unions. You're just using independent contractors.
And that's such an interesting part of the Star Wars universe at that moment is like, what would the transition be like? You know, and Andor touches on it a lot too. Like there's going to be a lot of like people still having feelings for the Empire that are now in the New Republic, you know, and like, what's the level of terrorism? What's the level of, you know, like, are you still like, you know, skimming stuff off the top for yourself? I think that's an interesting part of the universe. And I'm glad we're getting a little touch on
that. I think that generally feel like I've expressed most of my feelings about this show. The actor Lars Mikkelsen, who plays Thrawn, is a great actor.
That is Mad's brother, right?
I actually don't know.
Okay, well,
I don't know. I don't think so, because I think I would have known that, because that would be like the greatest.
Think about their faces; they low key do look like they could be related.
That is true. Lars looks like an evil version of Mads.
I thought Mads looked pretty evil already.
I know, but like Lars, like really looks. I mean, he plays Putin in House of Cards, and he's excellent.
Yeah, brother.
Oh wow,
power, brother.
I would love to see them in a movie together.
Oh my
It'd be
God.
so great.
Oh,
but yeah, I like. So, well, okay, I don't want to get too far ahead, but Lars Mikkelsen will be playing Grand Admiral Thrawn. I bet you he's awesome. But again, like with Ray Stevenson, is he going to be given enough cool shit to do to really bring out the fact that he's this big threat? Or is it just going to be the Fox Female 5? What's the group called from Pulp Fiction?
Family Force 5?
Yeah.
Female Force 5?
Female Force. Is it not called Fox? The Fox Force 5?
No, it's Family Force 5 is the old band, if that's your referring
Oh
to.
no, I'm talking about in Pulp Fiction, the class of pilot. That what's her face is in is she's a part of the Fox 5 Force 5. And so yeah, that's I think I'm just going to start referring to this group of chicks that are taking on Lars Mikkelsen as the Fox Force 5. Is it just going to be?
No, there's snake names, aren't they in Kill Bill? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not talking about Kill Bill. I'm talking about
Fox Force 5.
Fox Force 5. In Pulp Fiction, there's a scene. John Travolta and what's her face?
Uma Thurman.
And Uma Thurman says that she was one of the Fox Force 5, and her
job
was to make a pun every episode.
Yeah,
anyway,
it'll be a square. That
right. So I just do I want to continue watching this? Absolutely fucking not. But
no, we're gonna continue watching this. We gotta record. We gotta review this.
I thought we were all getting off easy.
no, guys, because what we're coming away from this is saying that there's a ton of great actors in this. There's potential, man. There's a lot of potential in the show, and I think that we've got a so much better start. Because you're right, I was already cringing over fucking little Leia sliding around the woods in Obi-Wan already.
I'm so glad I didn't have to watch that nonsense.
It's just like there was so much horrible shit within the first premieres of the couple shows that this one is like, oh, okay, there's a little stumbling and tripping going on, but I can see this getting a little bit of a full-on sprint at some point. So come on, no, give it a little more time, guys. It's like an anime. It's like I got to give it at least 3 episodes because the first 2 with budgeting and them trying to have these like a lot of information in the first episode to pull people in. It's that 3rd and 4th episode I think that really starts to like get traction and give it a little more time, guys. Give us some time.
Rem, are we supposed to give this more time?
I mean, you've got the Luke as the Star Wars action figure.
I know.
He's
here and he's very disappointed. He's very disappointed in Ahsoka for being so dumb.
And the KOTOR references we didn't even talk about.
The star map. Which thank you for bringing that up because you want to talk about barely an inconvenience.
No, you can't say something negative since I brought it up. No, it's got to be something positive.
Stop plot armoring your arguments, Jason.
Yes, I do like. Okay, yeah. So, like, I mean, my short list of positives. I like that they brought a star map in, a fundamental part of the KOTOR Knights of the Old Republic video game. I actually got a tingle in my lower half for a second when I thought that maybe a star map was going to lead them to the Star Forge. That would have been fucking sick.
Yeah, that's cool.
It wasn't, but so whatever. But I do like that they brought in star maps. I feel like that's cool.
HK droids. I wrote down that reference because I feel like that was something that was one of the bad guys in KOTOR because like they called them HK droids. They were like when
the assassin droids.
Yes, the assassin.
Yeah, HK-47 is one of the characters, one of the robots that you get.
Yeah. And they reference that as far as when the guys were like, yeah, for the Empire still, when they're talking in that room, he's like, you didn't activate any, assassin droids, and they dropped that whole name,
right? But it just has to be. They were like, how could they not figure out that you just needed to turn the top in order to open it? They're just like, literally, dude.
It's a Rubik's Cube, yeah.
It's literally just like all she did. She's just like 3 symbols, 3 stars, 3 people, 3 turns. Ha! Like it could have made it look a little bit like how did a protocol droid not figure that out? How? Just like spend like an hour just fiddling with it. You would have figured it out by accident. I mean,
yeah. How many possible combinations could there be?
It's just oh man.
So you would not recommend this show, Remy?
Not so far. Like I think what I think is truly will happen is we'll get to the end of this show and being like, oh yeah, those 1 or 2 episodes were cool. Like I feel like we might get an episode or 2 where they have some meaningful interactions and some good villain moments, and hopefully Ahsoka looks like she actually has to do something difficult. I kind of get like it's been one of those things where she hasn't had any real adversity. She like super easily destroys the HK droids that come after her, which that's fine. Like a Jedi should be able to do that. And then they have the robot Sith which was kind of cool, actually. Oh, that actually, you know what? I think that is one of the cooler parts.
Oh,
I do like it.
The dual lightsaber, and he throws it at her at the end and everything.
Yeah, he throws a lightsaber at her, and he has like, as I say, it's like a tool or like something that brings it back to him.
Oh yeah, and she just does that slight little dodge as it goes by. That was cool, I guess.
So I would like to see her have a little bit of adversity at some point, just so she's just not OP. Which, so I'll give that some time. But yeah, I think we'll get to the end of this and it'll be like, yeah, there was 1 or 2 episodes that are cool, but like mostly it'll be lame. And I think Thrawn's going to be in it very minimally. He's only billed for 2 episodes. So
Jesus,
it's going to be that it's going to be that Palpatine figure, where Palpatine didn't do much ever. He just sat there and was like talking shit most of the time. It's going to be Thrawn.
Why are people concerned about Thrawn coming back? Which is really, other than they just say he's the last Imperial Grand Admiral, but they don't even say it. But I guess the implied idea is that if he comes back, he'll unite a bunch of in the dark Imperial forces. But they don't say that. They're not like, oh, if Thrawn comes back, like we're gonna be fucked because he'll unite these people and these people that are more, that don't really like the rebellion, and give me some reason as to why it's a bad thing. But otherwise, he's just one random fucking dude, and he's not even Force sensitive, right?
Right.
I don't think so.
So it doesn't. They haven't done a very good job of building him, other than just saying his name.
And I think this is our lack of knowledge from the cartoons, and that they really.
No, that's lack of decent writing to establish the fact that this is a powder keg. We're held up by a bunch of sticks, and if someone like Thrawn came back, it could unite everyone together and bring down the. And hey, the Republic apparently only lasts for like fucking 15 years before it falls apart. So maybe it is like these people are all idiots and don't know how to run an actual cohesive government. So maybe it's really easy for someone like Thrawn to show up and just crush everyone.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Final thoughts, Jason.
I'm excited for the future of this show. I'm much more than the couple others that have come out recently. There's definitely some plot holes and some of the writing, and I definitely give you guys that. But like what I said in the beginning, it's beautiful. Like it's really feels like a Star Wars show, and it's actually for the first time made me want to watch the cartoons. And so for doing those 2 things right now, I think it's just fine. And there's not a whole lot on TV coming out right now, so this is a good show to look forward to weekly. But I'm going to stick in this and hopefully force you guys to stick in it too, so we can enjoy this or hate it together. One or the other. It'll create dialogue. We're talking about Star Wars, so that's all that matters in my life.
It comes out Tuesday nights, which is the same night that Hard Knocks with the Jets come out, and I was very upset. About 20 minutes into the first episode, I was like, I so much would rather be watching Aaron Rodgers talk shit to his teammates right now than watch this bullshit. You mentioned earlier, Jason, one thing that would actually make this show have some weight would be if they actually had the balls to kill Ahsoka. If this culminated in Ahsoka having to sacrifice herself, taking down Thrawn, and that was the end of her character, because it is ridiculous. First of all, it's ridiculous that in the 3-4 different Star Wars shows we've gotten, they've established that Execute Order 66 apparently took out like a third of the Jedis, because there's like 100 Jedis that are still scattered that just pop up out of the ground like Puxatani Phil on February 2nd. Like, oh, look, it's a Jedi. Like in Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's like there's like 10 Jedis running around on Tatooine, and it's just ridiculous that everyone just, they've been around forever. And I guess Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's like love child. Like this is his special creation character that he really cares about. And so I doubt that he has the balls to do something like that. Because where is she in the movies? Where is she in the sequels? It makes no sense that this former Jedi is running around. She's never been established in anything other than the fan fiction of Disney and the cartoon shows pre-Disney. So they got to get rid of her character. She shouldn't be around in the Star Wars universe anymore. Kill her off heroically, taking down Thrawn or whatever. But no, most likely her and her friends will be just fine. No one's going to die. And Thrawn will be taken out as a mild convenience. And that's me.